Hi, this is Caroline. Welcome to Soul Readings, live streaming. I was in Oregon for the past couple weeks, um, closing down my in-person clinical practice there, which was really emotionally intense to say goodbye to everyone in person. Um, and then now I'm back in Florida. And I just found out that one of my beloved mentors died. And I'm having a really hard time with it because he actually died in 2020 and I didn't know until yesterday. And so I think that um, when a lot of us experience grief and loss, it can be surprising. We can have like larger emotions than we anticipate. And so, if no one comes today to the live streaming, I really want to connect with Michael and the guides for some support for myself around that, because I think this is part of the human condition. This is something that all of us deal with: the loss of a loved one, the loss of someone that is foundational for our lives, and that we may not realize that until they're gone. And part of what I'm experiencing is that I feel that I did not let my mentor know enough, um, by words and deeds, how important he was in my life. So I'm reaching out to Michael today to support me in this. Oh, hi. Hi. Thank you. Thank you. And so I'm just asking, like, well, Michael says that the question I should ask, because I seem like I always ask the wrong question on my own. So Michael's saying the question I should ask is how should we grieve? How should we grieve is the question that I should be asking. So I'm asking that question. How should we grieve? How should we grieve? So so Michael is saying you're grieving the wrong way because you're thinking of loss instead of benefit, which is kind of like an accounting way of thinking about things, which seems kind of odd. I don't know. So I'm saying, like, I can you explain that to me? I don't really understand. So what he's saying is that I don't really understand there is no loss. Like, I'm thinking of it the wrong way. And he's saying there is no loss. I'm thinking there's a loss and there is no loss. Well, but I do feel a loss. He's saying you're misperceiving again. So he's not saying this in a mean way. He's not saying this in a mean way. He's just saying, like, this is a pattern that I'm noticing in you. That's the way that he's saying it, not in a mean way. Um, he's what he's saying is, I want you to feel loved and supported, and because you are feeling lost, it's like that's part of like it's part of like what you're not able to feel. Because you're feeling lost, you're not able to feel loved and supported. It's like, in a way, cutting myself off from feeling loved and supported. I want you to feel loved and supported. There's nothing wrong with feeling lost. It's simply a misapprehension. It's a misapprehension of what's really going on. So what he's saying is that we perceive loss because what we're doing is misperceiving how we're connected to others, and that we perceive loss because we're not seeing the eternal connection. So it's kind of true, right? Because, like, I did not see my mentor or speak to him or communicate with him in any way for years. I Years. And now I know he's dead, and so I'm feeling a loss, even though, like, I actually have not talked to him or seen him or written to him for a really long time. And and so what Michael is saying is, I want you to know he's present now, that he still loves you, that his support for you is ongoing, and that you're not lost or on your own, and he's still helping you in exactly the same way. And so I think that's what we don't recognize when someone dies, is that we're not really cut off from the intrinsic qualities of that relationship. The intrinsic qualities of that relationship persist. Like, that is something that doesn't leave. It's not something that changes. It's it's and that in a way we experience a distraction from that when we are like, oh, there's this physical loss. So Michael is saying you're getting mixed up about what's important. The important thing is the love. The important thing is that the love persists. And your vision is clouded when you're like more focused on what I should have, could have, and and that the physical possibility of connecting is not there. And so how to grieve. Oh, so Michael is saying that this pattern of grieving, which he's calling like an aberrant pattern of grieving or a non-productive pattern of grieving. And so, like, again, like, he's not saying this in a mean way. It's just that my brain is not very like, it's not very like soft and cushy and sweet, and it's not like super I don't have a super feminine brain. And so I have more like a mechanistic kind of logical brain, which is, I'm not saying that females can't have that, because of course they can, but I mean stereotypical. Um, and so that's why he's talking to me that way, not because he's mean, just because he knows I'll understand it. And now I forgot where I was going with that. Um, oh, I see. Yeah. So what he was saying is the the way that what what's really happening, what's really getting tangled up in here is with my grief and my sense of loss, is that if I accept that Dr. Adams is still a support system for me, then really what is what's being exposed is my greatest fear, is that I too will go on forever, that I too will persist, that I too, in a way, don't die. And it reminds me of that Mulan Kundera book, The Unbearable Lightness of Being, like how there's this this heaviness and lightness associated with our ideas of, whether everything ends at death or whether nothing ends at death, and how it really challenges us to be liberated in this moment, how in this moment what we do really matters, because there is, with the with the greatest with the greatest permanence, there is an equal impermanence, which means that everything matters equally. Everything matters equally. Like, it doesn't matter how close I am to someone, or if I'll never see them again. If they're going by me on the freeway and they're having a bad day, they're upset and they take it out on me and my response to that. It doesn't matter if I'll never see them again, or if they're my best friend, or someone I love deeply and they do that. Like, that is, like, that impermanence, permanence, um, paradox. How everything matters equally. How I treat the stranger or how I treat someone I'm very close to. It matters equally. It matters equally. And so, Spirit, how do I let go of my fear that that I too go on forever? It's really like a terror that I too go on forever. And so what Michael is saying is that that understanding really challenges us to live in the present, to love in the present. It's almost like because everything goes on forever, it doesn't matter. And that makes right now, this moment, my experiences now, the people I am in touch with now, the experience, everything in this second is given a weightiness because it's all that matters. This second, what I do, what I think, how I am, is all that matters. And the permanence of existence shrinks in size compared with right now. Michael's like, now you got it. The real fear, the real fear of life is not that we die. The real fear is that we live. The real fear is that we don't know how to do it, that we make mistakes. We have regrets. The real fear is that we don't know what to do about those things. The real fear in our soul, like the soul fear, is that we hurt other people. We hurt ourselves. We hurt the planet. And we don't know what to do about it. And so Michael is saying there's a simple solution. Like, don't make it so complicated. He's saying just say you're sorry, make amends, take responsibility for the things you're responsible for, and don't take responsibility for the things you're not responsible for, and know the difference. Show up. Show up to the best of your capacity for the things that come your way in life. Every day is different. You'll have more energy some days than others. There'll be complicating circumstances that will disallow you from showing up as your best, best. But all you have to do is your best in that moment, in that day. And there's this tremendous capacity of the universe for forgiving, for extending grace. And that's what I'm feeling now from my mentor. I'm feeling like he's extending grace to me. I think that spirit, the universe, Michael, many people who have died have a great capacity for extending grace. And that is part of what the soul seeks. That we seek to experience grace and we seek to learn how to express grace. And the way that we learn how to express grace is by experiencing it. And so I want to receive the grace of my mentor right now, that he understands that I really valued him and value him as a mentor, as a person, as someone who is very kind and generous and not self-seeking at all. And that I want to follow in his footsteps. I want to be that way. I want to be helpful for other people in that way. And I receive the grace that he's extending to me. And I want to learn from it so I can extend grace to people, whether it's someone I know well or I don't know at all, or I have a casual relationship or no relationship at all. I want to extend grace. I want to learn. I want to learn that lesson of grace. And Spirit is saying, now pass it on. So we experience it, we learn it, we express it, and that's how we pass it on. That's how grace is passed on. Grace is passed on by experiencing it, receiving it, learning how to express it, and then the whole cycle begins again. Someone else receives it, someone else experiences it, someone else then learns how to pass it on. This is the way we change the world. Michael is saying, grief is the way we change the world. Grief is the way that we see clearly. Grief is the way we come to understand why we're here, what we're meant to do, who we're meant to be. And the sole purpose is universal. The sole purpose is to love. And one expression of love is grace. So I want to thank Michael and Dr. Adams today for teaching me these important lessons. I want to be transformed through this process of grief and learn to receive and express grace and live in the present and show up for all people, all circumstances, all creatures with love to the best of my ability. To take responsibility for the things I'm responsible for and to not take responsibility for the things I'm not responsible for, and to learn the difference, to know the difference. Thank you for joining me today.